postmodern literature. As the exams are approaching, limited time is there, and you have to prepare all the topics. Now, the biggest problem is that most of the students they don't know what to read, and then especially in moderns and postmoderns, they're confused. Most of the Indian students are not able to define postmodernism. If you ask the students that what is the postmodern age, most of the students will come out with a simple idea that anything after modern or any book written by any author after 1940s or 50s is postmodern. No, if we go for post hyphen modern, then we can go for the timings that okay, whatever the books have been written after the Second World War can be somewhere categorized as postmodern, but then again it does not categorize all those postmodern things. For example, Lawrence Stern, the famous writer who has written Tristram Shandy Gentleman, he comes from the age of sentimental novels, the pre-romantic age of novels. And there when he wrote Lawrence Stern's famous work Tristram Shandy the Gentleman, that book has also been called postmodern. There are authors they have written postmodern books in early ages. And this is one of the reasons that when people study postmodernism, they make mistakes. So today, as the exams are close, this is my attempt to help all the students without caring whether they are registered online batch students or not. It is for everyone. As a teacher, this is my responsibility to help the needy students at the time of exams. Along with this, I'll also tell you that what are the most important terminologies in postmodern literature. I'll also talk about some important authors. I'll give you a list. So before we start, let's talk about some basic things and wait for a few more numbers to join us. The 2 minutes are there. Till then, before we start for this class, let's take 2-3 minutes to have a normal discussion about the exams. As the exams are almost close, this is the time that you stop studying new things. Like, this is the best pattern that when the exam is close, you stop studying new things. Whatever you have studied till now, stick to those things, focus on revision, revise those things 2 to 3 times, follow a proper timetable. Even in your timetable, make sure that you are actually focusing more on revision. As this exam time is close, so if you think you have done well, if you think you have got the classes, guidance, you know what to read, there is a lot of material, you must have collected, compiled, written a lot of notes. So if you have a lot of notes, the last 15-20 days are just used for revision. So make sure you revise things. If you are finding any issues in revision, if you need any help in revision, there are some 3 a.m. sessions. Some sessions are public sessions, 3 a.m. early morning. Some sessions are private sessions. Tomorrow, Sunday morning, I will also have another public 3 a.m. session. Early morning time is to revise. If you have a particular routine of studying, follow your routine of getting up at 3 a.m. and revise 3 to 7. Complete 4 hours totally in silence. Now, approx 140 plus students have joined. Let's talk about postmodern. So, talking about postmodern literature, my dear friends, you must have understood the modern age, because if you have the idea of modern age, then only you can go for the postmoderns. So, moderns were the people, those who were making difference. In the terms of Ezra Pound, the concept of modernism was make it new. Now, we connected modernism with the early ages where the 1900s, there were multiple countries having a competition to be the superpower, which resulted in World War I, 1914 to 1918. Then a Great Depression caused by a rumor in 1930s, and then the seeds of World War II, which were planted in World War I, World War II. So the proper timings of the modern age is from 1901 to overall 1945. Like if we talk about in a broader sense, 1901 to 1945, let's sum up everything as moderns. If I go for deep study, then we have early moderns, high moderns, or pure moderns, ultra moderns. After 1945, the end of the World War II, What was the immediate result of the World War II? We all know that the World War all of a sudden stopped with the use of atomic powers. In Japan, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, we all know what happened. Today, in my class offline batch, I was discussing the same thing. And I asked them that why are you preparing for net exam? Why are you preparing for your JRF, for your PhDs, for your marriages, for your university career? You must have seen a dream of becoming assistant professor. You must have seen a dream of maybe becoming a vice chancellor or maybe an education minister. Why are you seeing those dreams? What is the logic behind those dreams? Because your future, my future, is totally based, dependent on some superpowers. What were the dreams of those Japanese people living in Hiroshima? Millions of people living in Hiroshima, millions of people living in Nagasaki. They must be having a dream. They must be having love stories. They must be having a family life, a future. There were so many humanitarians, there were so many doctors, so many economists, and all of a sudden, one bomb destroyed everything. If you understood what I want to say, show me your likes. Approx 178 students are live, and likes are only 104. So if you understood what I want to say through those reference, show me a like. I'll understand that yes, you're getting my points, because the comments are stopped so that I could focus. So just one like means only one person got to know. Okay, some of you got understood. Got some of you have understood the idea. Yes, my dear friends, the life is unpredictable. Why don't you understand this? That the life is unpredictable in your religion, any religion, Hinduism, Islam, Sikhism, Jainism, Buddhism, Christianity. One thing is common, that life is unpredictable. What's going to happen next moment, we do not know. So, the moment we do not know what's going to happen next minute, why are we trying to live in a civilized life? W.H. Auden, in his famous work September, the famous work September 1939, when the World War II starts, he has written these lines: the clever hopes of future expired today. Clever hopes of future expired today. September 1939, W.H. Auden. Why he says this thing? That clever hopes of future expired. Because your dreams, your plans are based on the mindset of those people who have the nuclear power. Remember, a few months back, there was a serious tension between Russia and America over Ukraine. Godi media was repeatedly showing that today they will use nuclear. Then they would say, okay, afternoon they will use nuclear. Then they would say, don't worry, by the evening definitely they will use a nuclear. Even I started thinking that in the this attack of nuclear, what will happen to Earth and how will we will have to survive. I also started thinking, because that Godi media was trying to scare you like hell. Every morning they would come and say, don't worry, my friends, today nuclear war is going to happen. Your future, my future, there is no value. There is no, you love someone, you want to get married, you're working very hard, and somebody drops a nuclear. Second World War and the ending of Second World War with the nuke attack was a clear message that the human life is trivial. Rising population, age of machines, age of robots, along with a race in the space, all these things together made the value of human life trivial, and that resulted in the rise of beat generation. The beats came: Jack Kerouac, William S. Barrow, these writers, Allen Ginsberg. These writers were the writers who started celebrating different forms of sexuality, different forms of drugs, and felt that the human life is momentary and the only aim of the life is to live and forget all gods, religions, moralities. Where was God in Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Where was that God? Nobody came to save them. So, technically, the postmodern age actually entered in a chaotic understanding, a chaos. If you are understanding this lecture and you also feel that I'm making you understand, in moderns, they were exploring new concepts. In postmoderns, they found that no, new concept, old concept, they're all rubbish. Just live the life, explore all types of absurdities, explore all types of chaos, chaotic things, gaps, and explore your individual identity. Exploration of individual identity also takes place in modern, but there you become one entity, one human connecting himself to family. In modern literature, D.H. Lawrence becomes the first author to study the concept of sexuality running in a family. Sexuality का concept in a family पढ़ा. We are son, we are daughters in our family, right? But when we are growing up, our puberty, the age of 13, 14, we start feeling different hormones. We start feeling that we are no more kids, we are entering into a new adulthood. How do we perceive our behavior? How do we perceive the world? How do we see the family? How do we see the society? How it all of a sudden happens? The moment we enter in an age of 13, 14, 15, and we have touched the puberty, the world gets changed. Our perceptions get changed. Why? In a funny way, I must tell you, when we were in 7th, 8th class, age of 9 and 10, we used to take oath in the school. Bharat, India, mera desh hai, India is my country. All Indians are my brother and sister. And we used to mug up innocently. But then we got some poverty, we got some understanding. And we were like, oh, if we say all Indians are brother and sister, then where am I supposed to go and get married? Pakistan. शादी कहाँ करूँ जाके? तो फिर हमने क्या किया when we were in 12th class? We used to say all Indians are our brothers. But we used to keep mum, not sisters. Why? Because we have to get married to at least someone. So why should I say all Indians are my sisters, right? If you understood it, like it. So the perceptions got changed. Literature is love. If you understand literature, you will find hundreds of examples to explain it. Exploring literature, loving literature, I have reached to a level that I can connect literature with anything. D.H. Lawrence studied this thing that, okay, as an individual, who are you in society? Who are you in family? What is your understanding of an identity? As a male, how much male you are? As a female, how much femininity you still have? How much femininity is supported by them? But in postmoderns, they entered and started exploring the individual identity from inside. The LGBT concept, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, asexual, questioning, these identities also got questioned. Do you know that a boy or a girl in a very early age, 7, 8, 9, they are not sure about their sexuality? Because until unless they have not touched the puberty, they cannot even feel it. So even if you're calling a girl, there is a possibility that she is not the one. If you call a boy because of his genitals, there is a surety he can have a different sexual orientation. In postmoderns, they started focusing on all these aspects. In society, the idea of late capitalism, the idea is of machine. Today's concept of multiple identities, then human psychology. Freud came with the idea of panis envy, anus curiosity, that even we also get curious and struggle with our sexual orientations. So technically, in postmoderns, it was not a literature like Shakespeare. Okay, love story. No, it was like complex love story. D.H. Lawrence, Sons and Lovers. Paul Morrell is somewhere emotionally in love with Miriam, who is less sexually active, but he wants to be with Clara, who is more sexually active and is confused. कि इधर जाऊं कि इधर जाऊं. That's also the part of reality. In postmoderns, they started touching all those kind of absurd concepts. There was a building which was being, demolished, and hundreds of people came to watch that building, just like in India. When there is a machine, JCB, 100 people would be watching JCB, eating popcorn, watching JCB. Why? So when in US a famous building was being demolished, hundreds of people came to watch it. There was a live telecast, and a professor called it one of the first landmark of postmodernism, a meaninglessness. Postmodernism focuses on the meaningless concept of life. I hope you understand. It's quite easy to make students understand in offline class, because I can see their eyes, I can see the faces, curiosity, tension, nervousness on the face. So when I look at them, I like, okay, you tell me you did not understand. You tell me it seems you did not understand. So it's easy. In online, all I have to do is I'm seeing my face. So I really hope you are liking this explanation, you are understanding this explanation. I'm trying my best to use all my University of Delhi knowledge, because I used to attend conferences on postmoderns, trying to make it easy for you. A German writer, French Kafka, he wrote a famous work, The Trial. In the trial, the court is in the parking lot. It's a dirty parking lot, water clogged in, and there is a court session going on, court proceeding going on. Then court says that okay, this man is guilty, he should be assassinated, he should be killed. They take him to a stone quarry to kill him. There was a question of net exam that where do they kill him? In a stone quarry. So when they are going to kill that man, what is the emotion of that man? Pain, suffering, scared like hell, pleading guilty? No. They have caught him, they are going to stab him, and he is looking at some building. The man who is going to be killed is not scared. In fact, his first priority is to look at a building, and there is somebody who is looking at him. So he's trying to figure out who is this man? Who is this man? I've seen this man. Kaun hai ye? That's absurd. But this absurdity is equally the part of life. So the postmoderns started questioning the meaninglessness and said that there is a meaning in every meaninglessness. No, I understand it's a big lecture, not that easy to make you understand each and everything, but I know I've tried my best. And as the comments are restricted, only your likes can tell me that you have understood. So there are 205 likes, 220 people are watching. Increase your likes and I understand that you're getting my point. All the meaningless things is meaningful. That's postmodern. Now, only one person understood. One like only. Okay, 5. Okay, 9. Good. So now we talk about postmodern literary references, literary characteristics. How in literature, because you have understood society, okay. How to understand postmodern literary style. Now, who tells the story? Who has told the story of Mahabharat? Who has told the story of Mahabharat? This is also postmodern style. I'm in a very loose shirt. I didn't even wash my face because there is no acting. It's just my student. I am the teacher. I have to teach. Now, before this lecture, what I was doing, I was watching a new web series movie. I think that's by Manoj Vajpayee, based on Asharam. Ek Banda Kafi Hai, I think that's the name. I forgot the name. I got involved in the story. It's a good story. So then I paused it at a very important moment. I was like, I'll teach my students, I'll get back. That's also the part of postmodernism. How? Because we have understood and taken our teachers in a moral way. But we forget that behind the image there is a normal human being. When we were watching a movie of Ayushman Khurrana, so there was a movie Badhai Ho or Badhai Do. So they are grown up child and they get to know that their mother is pregnant again. They are not able to digest it. Why are you not able to digest it? So that's postmodern thing, because we have created the stereotypes. We must come out of stereotypes. So what happens in postmodern? Who has narrated Mahabharat? You will say, Sir, Ved Vyas. Yes, Ved Vyas has narrated Mahabharat. Ganesh ji has written it. But then what if Ved Vyas tells that this is happening in Mahabharat, and then all of a sudden he says that I'm not sure if this is happening. I don't know. Maybe I'm just feeling that this is happening. What if the narration given by Ved Vyas is decisive? What if then you feel that the narrator himself has no idea? What if the narrator himself has no idea of the narration? This is the part of postmoderns. What do we call it? Unreliable narrator. So write down this point. The point is called unreliable narrator. The famous work Murder of Rosa Ackroyd is a famous work written by Agatha Christie. The narrator of the story, who is talking about this murder, he himself is the murderer. तो जो कहानी सुना रहा है वो खुद ही murderer है. That's called unreliable narrator. When the narration itself cannot be relied. First point, first postmodern style, that narration itself is not sure. Second, multiple narratives. Multiple narratives. Also called temporal distortion. What if same story is being narrated by 10 people? Suppose something is happening in the market, 10 of my students are watching that, they come to my class, and then all of those 10 people have 10 different narrations of that story. So in postmodern books you will find out that there are multiple narratives. William Faulkner, As I Lay Dying, has a lot of narratives. William Faulkner, Sound and Fury, has 4 narratives. So one story can be presented from 4 different narratives. One person will tell you dull narrative, one person will tell you exaggerated narrative. आपके बहुत से दोस्त ऐसे होंगे ना. Suppose you miss your school for one day. You did not go to school for just one day. Next day your friends would say, today principal was flying, today the fight took place, today this happened, that happened. They would say that okay, all these narrations, they are some narrations are exaggerated. So multiple narratives. Then third comes fragmentation. Another postmodern term, fragmentation. In fragmentation, the speeches, the dialogues, the paragraphs are not complete. Half. If I'm talking to you in normal literature written style, I must complete my statement, my dialogue, so that you understand. But in a normal conversation, sometimes you want to say something, then you stop. You remember that funny movie, Ashiki, the modern one? The lover would talk to the girl. उसका नाम लेता था बार बार, आरोही. वो कहती क्या? फिर कहता कुछ नहीं. फिर कहता आरोही. वो कहती क्या? कुछ नहीं. What is that? That's that's fragmentation. Your sentences are incomplete, your paragraphs are incomplete. So where the reader has to use his imagination to understand. Then open-endedness. What if the ending of the story is not given to you? There are so many postmodern books where the ending is not clear. It's you who has to decide the ending. One of the famous example, John Fowles' French Lieutenant's Women, it has 3 different endings given by the author. Author gives you 3 endings. He said choose any ending. It's a question of net exam. In option there were 4 endings. Question was pick the one which is not the true ending given by the author. So it's an important book. Today I have taught this book in detail in my offline class. In fact, all the postmodern things I've taught in proper using a board and all. Then modern retelling of mythologies. That's also the part of postmoderns. Chitra Banerjee Divakurni, Palace of Illusions, talking about Draupadi from modern point of view. Mahabharat, Draupadi का point of view है. Then the best important, सबसे best is pastiche. 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 Pastiche is the best example of pastiche is Finnegan's Wake, Wasteland. Pastiche means when a writer writes a work by compiling, collecting references from various other works. कहीं की ईट कहीं का रोड़ा भानुमति ने कुनबा जोड़ा. So you picked one thing from here, you picked one thing from here, one thing from here, collected, compiled, and wrote it. So Wasteland in 433 parts, in 433 lines, 35 big allusions, 5 languages, and 5 parts. Burial of the Dead, Game of Chess, Fire Sermon, Death by Water, and What the Thunder Said. 5 parts, 5 languages, 35 big allusions, 433 lines. And what's original? Nothing. Everything has been picked up. सब कुछ कॉपी करके कंपाइल कर दिया. That's pastiche. That's postmodern style. Then comes paranoia. Paranoia is finding order in disorder. So postmoderns, they simply believe that the world has an order which is actually based on disorder. Sometimes जैसे whenever we who have normal quarrelings, thank God my family members don't watch my lectures, but whenever we quarrel in my family sometimes, so now I live in Delhi, my family is back home Rajasthan, so sometimes I ask them that, you know what, I wonder if some Mumbai Bollywood director passes by our home, he will find out all the characters in the house. I tell it to my mom, my dad, पापा मम्मी यार कितना ओवर एक्टिंग करते हो यार. सो आई यूज्ड टू से पापा को पता है कोई मुंबई का डायरेक्टर यहाँ से घर के आगे से जाएगा ना, उसको हमारे घर में सारे एक्टर मिल जाएंगे. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू मी व्हाट इज दैट, everything is disbalanced, you know, nobody is in balance. That's every Indian family. But then again, it's my family. I cannot shift with anyone else. I cannot accept anyone else. So even if I call it disorder, I have found my order in it. That's paranoia. Then there is experimental literature, experimental techniques, techno culture. Then there are terms like simulacra, simulation. Then there is concept like panopticon. There are multiple concepts of postmodern theories, postmodern terminologies. The all important ones, major ones, I have narrated. I'm sure I really wish my efforts made it good for you. I hope you understood. Now I'll tell you some names of important authors before the exam, and I have my own personal list. So I'll be taking the list so that in case I don't miss any important one. Write down the names of those important authors, my dear friends. उनके नाम लिख लो. सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है, most of the people don't even know these names, so they sometimes end up missing the exams. So let's go for the Indian postmoderns. I can bet 99% people do not know these names. You know why? Because cracking NET and JRF is a different thing being the part of University of Delhi. So thanks to those seminars I have attended in DU and JNU. Go for the authors. Write down these names. Malay Roy Chaudhary. Malay Roy Chaudhary, one of the top Indian postmodern authors. Second one, Bharti Mukherjee, Tiger's daughter. I've told in my class when she was being interviewed, the journalist said, the journal, she asked her that, Mrs. Bharti, how do you feel? भारती मुखर्जी को पूछा उन्होंने कि how do you feel living in America as an Indian author? And she rebuked the journal. She said, excuse me, call me an American. I am an American. So that's the important one. Then Samir Roy Chaudhary, Devi Roy, Charu Nivedita. Samir Roy Chaudhary, Devi Roy, and Charu Nivedita. If you have not heard these names, if you have not been taught about these names, then please take your time, check it on Google, read their important works. Manjula Padmanabhan, Harvest, ये सब पढ़ लो. You'll be very much happy preparing these things. Then also go for a famous work, Cult of Chaos by Shweta Taneja. Then Samit Basu, famous work, Game World Trilogy. Samit Basu, famous work Game World Trilogy. Then Jayant Narlikar. I don't study basic things for it. I study the things which come in exam and people say that it was out of syllabus. So focus on this. Jayant Narlikar, the famous story Return of Vaman. Return of Vaman. Make sure you focus on these things. Then go for the postmodern authors of English literature. पोस्ट ह्यूमनिज्म वाले भी पढ़ सकते हो आप, देवाशीष बनर्जी वगैरह. देवाशीष बनर्जी इज ऑल्सो इंपॉर्टेंट ऑथर. नाउ गो फॉर, first of all, it's very important, John Fowles. John Fowles, famous work, French Lieutenant's Women. Then Christopher Fry, A Lady is Not for Burning. Then you have to go for Thomas Pynchon, Crying Lot of 49. William Gaddis. William Gaddis' famous work J.R. That's important. Then you have to go for the famous author Cormac McCarthy. Cormac McCarthy has written The Road and No Country for Old Men. Then you have to go for John Barth, Salt Weed Factor, the famous work Salt Weed Factor. Then go for Jean Baudrillard, The Concept of Simulacra Simulation. Focus on Tristram Zara. That's important. Bertolt Brecht, Thomas Mann, and then French Kafka. Very important. In postmodern, absurd literature also becomes the part. So Harold Pinter, Samuel Beckett, they are very important. You also go for Eugene Ionesco. Once you go for Eugene Ionesco, you can also focus on the postmodern authors who have dealt with the cyborg literature. So Donna Haraway, repeated question of Donna Haraway has been asked in exam. Then Flann O'Brien. Flann O'Brien is also very important. John Hawkes, famous work Cannibal, very important. Also go for the Beat Generation authors. They're all very important. Please don't forget Lucy Pirandello, Antonin Artaud, Albert Camus. I've not told you all the authors because I know the time is limited, but I have given you the cream, crux. So if there are 50 plus authors, these 15 to 20 authors that I have mentioned, they are the crux. Why to read these authors? Why to focus these authors? Because my 9 net, they're all the result of these things. I study what people don't even know about. So basic literature is known to everyone. But do you know the tough things? What if all of a sudden tough paper comes? Will you cry or you will prepare? So this is your time to prepare. Now all my students, as I'm going to sum up, it's a courtesy, simple message. I'm also ordered to communicate this thing. We're going to start offline classes for December 2023. The batch will start from 10th of July. If you are a registered online student and you want to study in Delhi with proper hostel facilities, per day 6-hour classes. Do you know I'm taking classes from 11 to 3:30 with half an hour gap? So I will be taking 4-5 hour classes, then other teachers taking 2-hour classes. So approx on average 6 to 7 hour classes for approx 5 months, 5.5. And you want to crack NET and JRF with a guarantee, with the best effort, and you also want to learn like me. If you want to learn literature, if you want to be the best in your interviews, if you also want to crack NET and JRF with knowledge, with a good percentage, offline batches are being commenced 10th of July. Call 85870 You can also drop them a WhatsApp 85870 Drop them a WhatsApp. You can also mention this that I want to know about offline batches. If you're from South India or Northeast or some farthest area, do not worry. There are hostels, PZs for girls. It's a safe area. We are your first family. I will be your host. I will take care of each and everything related to you. You can be the part of the batches. You can join us. If you are already an online student, and you want to come back for offline, you will have a special discount because you are already registered with us. Offline batch will start from 10th of July. So those who want to be the part of offline batch, repeating the phone number again, 85870 Call them or drop them a WhatsApp. They will call you back. You can have all your queries and then you will be studying like us. So let's be the part of the classes. Let's share knowledge. Let's learn from each other. May God bless you. If you like the content, share it with your friends. Thank you so much.